Hello and welcome to the Gimme 5 podcast, and I can tell you this is one that I've been looking forward to from the get-go. It's been in the offing that we were going to get this man on, but he's here. And my partner in crime, as per usual, is Gary Marshall, sat somewhere in Bessacar. Is that a place, Bessacar?
Because it's Bessacar Doncaster, yeah.
Oh, okay.
One of the posher ends of the town.
Is it a posh end?
Poshish.
Posh.
Is that a word?
Yeah, posh. It is now. It is now. And we can look for affirmation from our special guest because he is nothing if not well informed. I'm delighted to say that he's here, he's live, and he's with us. It's Matt Le Tissier.
Hey!
How you doing, chaps? Nice to see you both. I've missed you all.
Good morning, Matthew.
What have you been up to?
Oh, just the usual stuff. Going out for a walk, getting sacked from my job, all that kind of stuff.
And there was me wondering if we were going to bring that into the conversation today, but it's taken about 9 seconds. So.
Just get it straight in.
I just thought we'd get the elephant out the room. Oh, no, Gaz is still here. Oh, he's not an elephant anymore.
That's why we thought we'd interview on a Saturday, Matt, because you're doing nothing else now, are you? So.
This is very true. I'm actually looking forward to playing some weekend golf for the first time in many years.
Wow, yeah. That's why another reason we thought we'd get you on now before the golf course is open Monday.
I actually said to Gaz, I reckon he's jacked it in, just so he can get the golf in on the weekend.
But of course, Matt, being Welsh, Rod, he's played 3 or 4 times already. They're a week or 2 in front of us.
Yeah, well, you say played. I'm sure not quite to your level, but I've had 331s, Stableford, of course. I don't like to play medal because it's too exposing, isn't it? Really? But 331s and a 36 at Saint Pierre in the week.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah. That's Chepstow way, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
I think I've played that one.
Oh, you'll have to. It's a nice course, the old course. Lovely finishing hole there, and up to the club. Oh, you'd love it.
That's a Marriott, isn't it? It's got a hotel attached to it.
Right. That's right. Yeah. What do you play off now, Matt?
Well, I was playing off of 3 until the new world handicapping system came in last year, and my handicap dropped to 1.4, which is a bit harsh, if I'm honest. I'm not that good a golfer, to be honest. So I'm hoping that the scale, the sliding scales that you go to on these courses, that the handicap might jump up a little bit when I get there.
Is that world handicap thing? Is it because the course you play is quite hard? Is that why you're a 1.4? Is that how it works? I'm not sure how it works.
So every course it's pretty complicated. So every course has been rated on a sliding scale for difficulty, and then my last 20 rounds of competitive golf were taken into consideration, and the 8 best rounds out of those 20, you took the average of your best 8 rounds, and that became your handicap. So, but it doesn't mean that every time I go and play golf that I will be playing off of 1. Because on the more difficult courses, if I go to and play a difficult course, there'll be a chart there and it'll tell you what your 1.4 equates to on that course. So I might be playing off 2 or 3 on that particular course. So it's a bit confusing, but I'm sure it'll be for the better in the long run.
Do you reckon it'll work out? Do you think?
It kind of makes sense. Golf is a game played all around the world. So why wouldn't you have one system? So I used to go and play golf in America, and I'd rock up, and just join up with one of the locals to play, and I'll say to him, what's your handicap? And he would just literally make it up, and they could be like a 12 handicap one week and a 15 handicap the next week, and it's like, okay, well, what do you actually play off then? What's the score here? And so I think a system that I can go now to any part of the world and play somebody who's got an official handicap, and you kind of know that it's going to be a relatively fair game. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah. I mean, there are lots of footballers who are really good at golf, obviously, and does that sort of go back to the days when you had nothing better to do? Because
I was going to say hand-to-eye coordination, but yeah, nothing better to do is probably better.
I mean, you kind of had a few choices when, back in my day, when you finish training at about 12:30, there's a lot of hours left before you go to bed. So you either went to the betting shop, the pub, the snooker hall, or the golf course. and that was kind of where your choices lie. And I probably did in the early years. I probably did more snooker club, but I think in the latter years of my career, it was definitely more golf course.
Well, obviously, this show is all about, favourites, and we're going to be getting into a few of those with you now. But I think it would be naughty if we didn't draw you on your favourite golf courses while we're on the subject. I mean, you've obviously played all over the place, excluding St Pierre.
Crook Hill, Doncaster.
Oh, yes.
Bawtry.
But you played Bawtry.
Bawtry, I've played, yeah.
You're also playing Italy this year, I know.
I am indeed.
June.
I am indeed.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
In the Gary Marshall.
It's a lovely course, Matt. It's a lovely course.
Excellent. So, I've been very, very lucky to have been in some positions to have played some lovely golf courses. So, I got to play the ultimate course for any golfer in the world. I think it's 4 years ago now when I played Augusta. That was just. I never ever in my wildest dreams thought I would ever get to play there. So I haven't even considered it as a possibility because it was just such a far off dream to try and play there. And then
how did you get that opportunity to play Augusta, Matt?
So it came through my friendship with Richard Bland, who plays on the European Tour.
Yeah.
So Blandy and I have been friends for over 20 years. So from back when he was on Challenge Tour and not even a European Tour player, he was the pro at my local club at Stoneham, where I'm still a member now. And actually, he was my lodger as well for a little while. So when back in, when was it? About 99, 2000, somewhere around there. He was still living with his mum and dad and trying to make the world his way in the world of golf. And I just kind of said to him, I said, well, I'm living on my own. I've got loads of spare bedrooms. I said, get away from your mum and dad. Do you know what I mean? Make things uncomfortable a bit for yourself. So he moved in with me for a little while. And I don't think his golf improved, but his drinking did. And so he was playing in the Dunhill Links up in Scotland.
Yeah.
And he told me the story. So first day of the tournament, he kind of rocked up to the course and got introduced to it because you have an amateur playing partner. I did it with him 1 year. I played in it 1 year. And it was brilliant. And so the first morning, was walking up to the putting green, and one of the guys from the R&A said, "Oh, the gentleman over there is your playing partner for this week." So Richard walked up to him, and as he walked up to him, he noticed that he was wearing this jumper with the Augusta logo on it. And so Richard, being Richard, thought he'd try and break the ice, and he walked up and he went, "Who sewed that logo on for you?" and the bloke, deadpan, just looked at him and he went, "Yeah, I'm a member there." And Rich went, "Oh, okay, good start." So then, obviously, the week progressed and they got on really well. And at the end of the week, the guy said to Richard, he said, "Oh, you must come and play. Come and play Augusta."
And he said, "Oh, shucks, I don't think I could."
So out the blue one day, I just got a text from Blandy, and it just said, "Do you fancy playing Augusta?" And I kind of read it, and then I read it again. And I was like, "Is he taking the piss here?" So instead of just sending the text back, I thought I'm not risking the text not getting there and him asking someone else. So I've rang him up and I went, "You're not taking the piss here, because that's not funny if you take." and he went, "No," he said, the lad I played in the Dunhill Links with, he wants me to come over and play Augusta, and he said to me, "I can take a couple of mates with me. Do you fancy it?" Wow. So I was like, "Oh my God." So I did it. It was one of those moments where you don't even go, "Let me just ask the wife."
Yeah. Cross that bridge when I come to it.
I went, "I'm in. It don't matter. I'm in. Just put me in." And this is one of those points where I'm normally a reasonable guy who will have a bit of negotiation with her indoors, but it was one of those moments where I went, "I'm going to play Augusta." It wasn't. "Do you mind if I go and play Augusta?" We did. We had the most wonderful flight. I think we flew on Tuesday. We played Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Not all at Augusta. So this was the golf trip. So we stayed in Atlanta. So we played the Atlanta Country Club. We played Augusta. We went on the second day to Augusta, where we played 36 holes in a day. And then we came up. We played Eastlake, where they play the Tour Championship. So and it was just we just played these wonderful golf courses. The first day we played at Peachtree, which is in the top. I think it's in the top 10 golf courses in America. That was the other course where the guy who was the member at Augusta was a member there as well. So we played there first. We drove to Augusta. We stayed the night before, so we stayed in the lodges down the left of the 10th, where Rory McIlroy hooked that when he was cruising the Masters, and he hooked it near the lodges. So we stayed in those, and it was just the most amazing place to play your golf. It was just incredible, the history behind the place, and I honestly walked around that golf course twice, and the second time I deliberately was looking to see if I could find a weed anywhere on the golf course. Yeah. It was that perfect. I cannot tell you.
Really? They say that all the television cables are buried underground, aren't they? For the
incredible. Yeah. Honestly, it was absolutely incredible, and it was just the most wonderful day of my golfing life. I couldn't have.
What club did you take? What club did you take on the par 3 round, Amen Corner?
So I had a 9-iron in there both rounds, and I made 2 both rounds.
No.
Yeah. The second round, I nearly holed it. I was bang on line with it, about 18 inches short.
What would Jordan Spieth have paid for that a few years ago?
Exactly. So that's kind of been the highlight of my round. And they're not very keen. This is the amazing thing. They're not very keen on you actually taking pictures and videos and stuff when you're playing around there. So it's not really. It's quite discouraged. But the one time Blandy took my phone off me and he videoed one of my swings. And it was the tee shot at 12, the second one that went to 18 inches. It was the only shot that I've got on camera of me playing at Augusta. And it was just the best shot I hit all day. So it was an amazing day. And it was brilliant because we went into the clubhouse, and they are famous for not really having much of a menu and things. And you just kind of order what you fancy and they've got it.
Right.
It was incredible.
A bit like the winner's meal, isn't it?
Yeah, and so Pat, who was the guy that was the member there, we went in and have a drink afterwards, and he said, well, "Order what you want." And you know what's coming here, Gaz? So I went, "I'll have a Malibu and Coke," and he was absolutely distraught. It was the only drink that they didn't have in the entire place. So there's no word of a lie. So they didn't have it, and so the next day, he actually went out to the off license, bought a bottle of Malibu, and took it into Augusta just in case.
Wow!
And I bet you it's been untouched from that day to this.
I bet you it has. It's just waiting for me to go back. That's what it is.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hey. And are you still with your missus? I should have asked that, shouldn't I?
Yes, mate. I can't afford another divorce.
And just before we leave the subject, I was just going to ask him for his tip on the Masters, because I'm going to put a few quid on this. Who do you reckon?
Blimey. I would say at the moment, I'd probably go with Justin Thomas at the moment. He's in pretty decent form, and I think he's got the game to win around there. But it's just. There's so many players I think that could win, and there's so many things that can happen around that course. So many disasters waiting for you at any given moment that that's what makes it one of the best tournaments to watch. It's just incredible. So I can't wait for it to come around.
I'm back in Sunjai Im, just so you know.
Okay.
Steer clear of him.
I'll be steering clear of him. Yeah. Hey, what about Hideki? He normally gets a look.
No, I've got rid of Hideki. He's done my head in. I cannot, honestly.
That's like stopping with your lottery numbers, Gaz.
I'll tell you what, you back him for I'm leaving him alone. I've done every single time.
I would love it if I backed him and he won.
I know.
All these years.
Well, that'd be our friendship gone, mate. If you back him and he win.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I like the Gimme 5 podcast because, it's crazy.
Well, this is, I suppose I better remind the listeners that this is the Gimme 5 podcast. And I've got a sense, Matt, that, you're going to have some very intriguing choices here and some left field choices as well. So what are we going to go in with first, Gaz? What's the first category?
Well, we're going to go with singers and groups. I think Matthew's chosen singers and groups.
Yeah, I have indeed. That is one of my choices, and
I know what number one will be, but I won't spoil it. I just know. I think everyone will know what number one will be.
So number one is heavily influenced by the first song that I ever bought and my first musical hero. So don't forget we're talking about 1981 here. So number one on the list has got to be the one and only Shakin' Stevens.
Get in there! Oh, Cardiff boy! Oh yes!
Oh, that's why we got him on, isn't it?
I knew you'd be impressed with that, Rob.
I love that. Oh my God!
You worked with him recently, Rob, didn't you?
I did actually. Yes, yeah. We did a thing in the.
Whoa! Stop there, Rod. Hang on a minute. You worked with him recently. You've got my number.
I can't believe it.
Seriously,
I think you were in Augusta at the time. But you'd have loved it. I think this would have been better than Augusta, because if that choice had come up, it'd be like, can you come to Augusta, Matt? Yeah, I can. I've got a bang about. Shakin' Stevens is doing a gig in Llanelli, and I got tickets. That would have been a moral dilemma, wouldn't it?
That would have been a very, very big moral dilemma.
He invited me, and I went, "No, I'll give it a miss, mate."
Hey, I always used to wonder whether Shakin' Stevens was related to Even Steven. They always talk about Even Stevens. He's like the complete opposite, isn't it?
So yeah, definitely. This Old House was the first single I ever bought, and I just loved Shaky's music as a kid growing up. It was just brilliant for me.
He did have a certain cool about him. It was hard. The thing was, everybody in Cardiff used to look like that. They all used to wander around in denim.
When you say he had a certain cool about him, I don't think he did. I think it was South Wales and Guernsey.
I got to meet him. I got to meet him a few years back. I don't know. I said something on Soccer Saturday, and Stelling picked up on it. There was some musical feature that we did, and Jeff had asked me, do you like that kind of music? And I turned around and went, well, he's no Shakin' Stevens, is he? Right. And so that was live on Soccer Saturday. So on the Monday morning, I get a call from my agent going, Shaky's people have been on, and he's got a charity golf day that he's doing for the hospital that saved his life, because he had the heart problems and everything, and he wants to know if you'll come and play in his golf day. So I was like, oh, brilliant. Yeah, I'll do that. So I rock up, but not only do I play in his golf day, I'm playing in his team. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have 4 hours on the golf course with Shaky. Honestly, he turned up on the first tee. I've never seen a golf swing like it. He then proceeds to tell me it's the first time he's ever played. So I spent 4 hours, we didn't have to look very far for his ball, to be fair, but I spent 4 hours giving a golf lesson to Shakin' Stevens. How good is that?
Oh,
that is a claim to fame. And to be honest, there was not really any point you carrying on with Soccer Saturday after that, because the best thing that could have happened had happened, hadn't it?
Where'd you go from there?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
So number two on your list, we've got rid of Shaky.
Okay, so we're moving now into the mid-90s, and a lady who had whose music stirs up a lot of very nice memories for me. And I'm a bit of a country music fan, and so Shania Twain is my number two.
Oh man,
that is a very, very good shout, Matt. That album, was it Come On Over?
Yeah.
It was just hit after hit, wasn't it?
It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. I can't tell you the amount of hours I've whiled away in my lifetime just listening to Shania Twain music, and been to see her in concert a few times as well, which is quite good. Oh, you'll like this one, Gaz. So I went to see Shania in London, and the tickets weren't that great, so I was like way away from the stage and everything. And then I heard that she was doing another gig in Sheffield. So I thought I'll get some better tickets for that. So I bought a couple of tickets. I was single at the time, so I bought a couple of tickets. I thought, I've got to find somebody to go with me. Who's up near Sheffield? So I ring up, mate, John Beresford.
Bezer.
So I ring up Bez. I played with him at Southampton.
Yeah.
So I ring him up and I go, Bez, I've got a spare ticket to go and watch Shania in Sheffield. Do you fancy it? And he was like, yeah, why not? Let's go for it. So this is nowhere to fight. Bez also isn't a man who is shy of drinking an alcoholic beverage that probably isn't meant for the gender that we are. And so this is no word of a lie. We go to this pub near the venue before the gig. So me and Bez walk in and rock up to the bar, and I dread to think what the barman thought of us, because he went, all right, lads, what do you want? So
I bet he had no Malibu and Coke.
I went, 2 Malibu and Cokes, please, mate. And he Bez was in for Malibu and Coke as well. Don't worry about that. He liked a Malibu and Coke. So we go, 2 Malibu and Cokes, please, mate. And he went, all right, okay. Give us a bit of a funny look. He come back with the drinks. He went, so what are you lads doing around here? Oh, we're just going to a Shania Twain concert.
Oh, God.
I thought he was going to come back and say, what do you two lads want to drink?
He should have done. So,
She
yeah,
does cross boundaries, mine, because you can have the windows down on a summer's day and you find yourself singing, "Man, I Feel Like a Woman," and it doesn't seem to be anything wrong with that, you know.
You two can.
Nothing wrong with that at all. So
I mean, so far, shaky. No, Shania. The only thing I've got with Shania Twain, my niece was named after Shania Twain.
well, there you go.
Yeah, little Twain. It's lovely.
Do you
Oh,
not call
Shania,
her
yeah.
Shania, you call her in the family now, don't you?
Shania.
There's a reason behind that. Tell Matt about that.
What? Oh, that was my mum's funeral was that, and I wrote out the eulogy, and the fellow from the funeral director, he said, "I'll do it for you." I said, "Okay." So we wrote all these names down, and it's obviously he'd never taken one glance at it until the day, and he's Shane. Of course, she leaves grandchildren Shania, Jake, and take. The handwriting's not that bad. On Shania and Take, horrendous.
And your brother-in-law, who's at Athon, suddenly
Alton.
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 Of a name.
Unbelievable.
Which he's
we'll get into top 5 funerals next week, because that was a belter. Well, who's your number 3, Matt?
Number 3, I'm sticking with the country music theme, but I've gone for a group this time.
Yep.
And one of my favourites is a group called Lone Star.
Lone Star.
What was their big hit?
The hit was called Amazed.
Amazed.
Baby, I'm amazed by you.
That's the one.
That's the one, isn't it?
Very popular at weddings, apparently.
Is it?
Yeah, apparently so. It was like one of the most popular first dances at weddings in whatever year.
Oh, was it? Are they American then? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Lone Star.
Yeah, they're American. Yeah, so I had I went and watched them in concert as well, and it was by complete chance. I was on a golf trip, pro-am trip to where were we? We went to Scottsdale. That was it. So we were in Scottsdale on this with 3 of my mates on this pro-am golf trip, and so my missus was just flicking on the internet, looking at concerts for us. And she, out the blue, she just went, "Oh my God, you're not going to believe it. Lone Star are playing in Scottsdale the week that you are there golfing." And I was like, "You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me." She went, No, straight up. So I was straight on the internet, get some tickets. I rang up my mates. I went, "Lads, Lone Star are playing in Scottsdale when we're there on this golf trip." And all 3 of them went,
Who?
So I sent them a few songs over. I went, "Listen to this. Honestly, they're brilliant." So anyway, unbeknown to me, they run a quiz or a competition online on the old Twitter stuff, and my missus enters the competition without me knowing, right? And the competition was for 2 people to be sat on the stage while Lone Star are performing. It was only a little venue. It was only like 750 people or something. But they ran this competition and they had these sofas at the back of the stage. And so my missus entered without telling me. I win the competition, and on the night, I get called out to go sit on the sofa at the back of the stage while they're playing.
Please tell me John Berriford was with you drinking Coke.
Not that time. So it was for two people. So like my three mates who don't have a clue who these blokes are. I'm looking at them and they're all going, "Not me, mate, not me."
I'll give it a miss, mate.
So I sat on the stage and listened to him.
By the way, you said it's a first dance at a wedding. What was yours and Angela's first dance at the wedding?
Oh,
that's put you on the spot, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Green Door.
Well, we didn't. Well, the thing is, we didn't have a wedding reception because we got married on the beach in Mauritius, and it was just me and her and a couple of witnesses that we grabbed the night before. So we didn't really have a first dance. But I think there was the first song that was played after we got married was a Shania Twain song. Funny enough.
Beautiful. So
did
number 4,
Gaz, did you have a first dance?
Yeah, Groovy Kind of Love, Phil Collins.
Nice.
Good choice. Good one.
Yeah. Not too soppy, you know what I mean?
Just the right.
Cat's impressed.
Yeah.
Oh, delighted. She'd never heard of it, but in them days, quite like Phil Collins.
Excellent.
Number 4 then, Matt.
Okay, number 4. I've gone a bit closer to home with number 4. A good old Southampton boy, Mr. Craig David.
Craig David. He had a bit of cool about him, didn't he?
Honestly, the Born to Do It album was just. I've spent so many hours listening to that as well.
He crammed a lot into his weeks, didn't he? When you think about it.
He did.
I only met him on a Sunday, to be fair.
Aye. And then, so I loved all his music from back then. And then he made a comeback a few years ago.
Yeah.
And some of the tunes that he banged out there a few years ago, absolutely superb. So again, I've went to see him in concert a few times as well, and I just love it. I think he's a really, really talented entertainer.
Yeah, and a beefcake as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a fit boy. But no, I've loved his music. So he gets in my top 5.
And your last one?
So my last one is going back again to the mid '80s, really, when the song that really kind of attached me to this guy was a song called Uptown Girl.
You've made his day.
Oh, are you a big fan as well, Rod?
Hey,
massive fan.
Billy Joel for me, just absolutely brilliant. Billy Joel.
We're not going to get off this subject now.
He's the absolute greatest, I tell you.
Honestly, I went in. I was lucky enough. He came and played at the Rose Bowl a few years ago at the cricket ground in Hampshire. And went and watched him in concert. I just had one of the best nights of my life. Honestly, it was just tune after tune after tune. And I can see Rod's admiration there. It's just lovely to know.
Just for you, Matt.
Oh, beautiful.
It's 9 o'clock
on a Saturday.
The regular crowd shuffles in. There's an old man sitting next to me. Making love to his tonic and gin. And what did he say? He went, na 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 na. Come on, guys.
Na 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 na.
Let's have the chorus. Come on for the big finish. Sing us
the song. You're the piano man.
Sing us the song tonight.
Because we're all
in the mood for melody.
And you got us
feeling all
right. Brilliant. How many times have you seen him, Rob?
I actually saw him in New York at Madison Square Garden where he does a residency. Wow. And that was amazing. That was over the Christmas period. And it was amazing. He did his set and everything. But it's such a music, a bit like you were talking about with Craig David there. You just know that he knows his craft and his onions. He was saying to the crowd, give us a request. Someone shouts out,
turn it down.
Turn it down.
Stop.
It'd be like the Christmas song, and then he just starts chestnuts roasting on it, just playing and singing. He's just the nuts, isn't he?
Brilliant. Now that's my first 5.
That's brilliant. A great 5 as well.
I've got to tell you, Matt, just as a little aside, and Gary will back me up on this, is that there's a guy called Elio Pace.
I know him.
Oh, do you?
How good is he, by the way?
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, he's top drawer, isn't he? He does a Billy Joel tribute, but it's not even a tribute. It's just like, it's just a celebration. And
he's probably better, to be fair.
I'm trying to think where I first was. It the piano bar in La Manga?
Oh yeah, he would have been on there. Yeah.
I think he was there when I was there for the Footballers Golf Classics all those years ago with Terry Mancini.
Wow.
I'm sure he was on the piano there. Was the first time that I saw him.
Well, if you haven't seen his tribute to Billy Joel, go because you'll get a kick out of it.
You've
Definitely.
It's outstanding.
Yeah.
2.5 hours, isn't it? 2.5 hours long, at least.
Yeah.
Wow. That'll be something to look out for when we're allowed.
I think Give Me 5 would be my favourite podcast. If I only listened to a podcast.
Okay, Gary, we're going to start with my all-time hero of football, the man who inspired me to be the player that I was, and that is Glenn Hoddle.
Oh, yes. Never meet your heroes.
Yes, indeed. The less said about his managerial skills, the better. But in terms of a footballer, still my hero to this day, and a man who just I wanted to be. I wanted to copy.
He was silky, wasn't he? He was
smooth. He was smooth. I think it was the ease of the 50-yard pass into someone's stride, and they just don't even have to break stride. And just some of the goals that he scored. He was a scorer of great goals as opposed to being a great goal scorer. Yeah. A lot of goals from outside the box, and I took my inspiration from him, no question.
Yeah, because Gary is, dare I say, slightly, biased against Spurs players normally. So he must have been good for Gary to give him that kind of.
Yeah,
indeed. Gary will like number 2 a bit better, I would imagine.
He was a great player, to be fair. Horrible moustache, one of the worst moustaches in football.
So Gaz will be much happier with player number 2.
Yeah.
And because I think he's just about old enough to remember him playing. But number 2 for me was Liam Brady.
Oh,
what a player!
Oh, one of the greatest left foots you'll ever see.
Absolutely.
If someone asks for my greatest Arsenal team, he's always in it. You cannot.
For sure.
And I was so gutted when he left to go to Juventus. It was horrible.
Yeah. So I obviously being I was a Spurs fan growing up, so I shouldn't really like Arsenal players, but he was that good that I just couldn't help but admire him. And he had a left foot that you would just die for, and he inspired me to actually go out and practice a lot more with my left foot, because I wanted to try and get my left foot as good as Liam Brady's. That was basically my dream. So he's number 2 on my list.
And number 3?
Number 3 is a guy that I always kind of put as one of the best players I ever played against, and an Italian legend, nicknamed the Divine Ponytail, Roberto Baggio. Just again a silky footballer of I used to watch the old Football Italia back in the late 80s, early 90s, and I just watched him play, and he just made the game look so easy. His touch and the way that he moved, he was just so silky smooth. And then we got to play against him when he was at Juventus. We played a pre-season friendly against them back in the early 90s, and it was just incredible. We were a pretty shit team at the time. Ian Branford was our manager. I don't even know why we were on the same pitches then, to be honest. So we rock up against it, and this is a true story actually. On the day of the game, so we're warming up on the pitch, and obviously we're just like raggy ass rovers, and there's all these world superstars in the Juventus team. And so all the talk before the game was about the lads about whose shirt you were going to swap at the end of the game. That's how serious we were taking the game. So anyway, we're having a bit of a mess about doing a warm up before the game, and all of a sudden I get a tap on the shoulder from one of the Juventus players. So I turn round, and Gianluca Vialli is stood there, and he goes, after the game, me and you swap shirts. I was like, oh my God. Vialli has heard of me and he wants to swap shirts with me. I've gone, lads, have you seen that? Did you see that? So anyway, so the game starts. We managed to restrict them to 0-0 at half time, right? Tim Flowers made about 40 world-class saves. And we've gone in at half time 0-0 thinking we've won the World Cup, right? So we come out in the second half. Early on in the second half, we get a corner, which in itself was quite an achievement. And I whipped the corner in, out-swinging corner with my right foot. And I think it was Richard Hall, our centre-back. Gets up.
United.
Only nods it in the top corner. We're 1-0 up against Juventus. It's the only time we've been in their half. We're 1-0 up. We're running around going, what do we do now? And I'm not kidding you. For the next 40 minutes, we do not get out of our half. Baggio completely runs the game like you wouldn't believe. He scores 2, sets the other one up. We lose 3-1. And one of the goals he scored was a free kick from the edge of the box, which to this day I can still remember. And he's whipped it in the top corner of the corner where Tim Flowers is stood.
No.
And Tim still can't get to it. Honestly, it was absolutely magnificent. And there were times in the game where I was just stood on the halfway line just clapping. It was brilliant.
It's great to hear that he was that good, because you wonder, I remember him, and the world remembers him coming to prominence in Italy, and I knew that incredible goal that he scored. But I actually remember a conversation down the pub, where they were saying, "Oh, he's not. He was a one tournament pony and all that sort of stuff."
No! If you look at his record in Italy, his goals.
Yeah, he wasn't as good as penalties as you, that was he, Matt?
He wasn't quite as good at penalties as me. No.
Did you never miss a penalty? Did you? Or did you
I missed one.
Was it one?
I say I missed one. I had one saved.
That was an anniversary about 2 or 3 days ago. That was all
indeed.
I seem to remember.
It was indeed, yes.
Big Norm loves retweeting that.
Our mate Norm, that time every year on that date. Brilliant. Love being reminded of that.
Who's your number 4 then, Matt?
Number 4 is today's genius, who for me is better than Maradona and Leo Messi. I think is just
ever, isn't he?
I just feel blessed to have been alive while he's had his career and been able to see what he can do on a football pitch.
Being his size, and I think the treatment that he gets from midfielders, defenders, and he never dives. He gets up, doesn't. He is the greatest I've ever seen.
I think he's the greatest I've ever seen as well. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. So he comfortably gets into my top 5.
And your final one?
And my final one is again gonna impress you, Gaz, because I know that you'll like this bloke. But one of the best players that I played against in the Premier League, and that was Thierry Henry. There's very few players who I've kind of played against or witnessed since I've retired that can make the game look so easy. And at times, he looked like at times he was an adult playing in an under-12s football match.
Yeah,
he was that good at times. And the only other person that I've said that about is Virgil van Dijk.
Right.
And they're the 2 people that I've watched and gone, geez, they were just on a different level to the rest of the players on the pitch. And so Thierry gets into. I
remember Andy Gray saying, I think a hat-trick against Leeds a few years ago, and Andy Gray saying something like on commentary, "I've seen most things in this league. I've never seen anything like this man." Right. And he's bang on, isn't he? Because he did make it look ridiculously easy.
He did indeed. So that's my top 5 footballers.
So now then, this will it comes as a shock that you've picked your top 5 meals.
Always been a big fan of food, Gaz. I think
Seconds.
that's how me and you bonded when we first met. And by the way, how the hell did you get on the telly at Doncaster races when you were out walking?
Well,
Did you see it? I
how
missed
good was
it.
that? How good was that?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But the thing was, Matt, it was premeditated because, you know, he said to me, keep an eye out, I'm going to be on the telly.
No, he didn't.
He did. He
I've
phoned
not
me
been
up.
on since 2001.
I said, how are you going to get on the telly? He said, Doncaster races, you know. I said, and I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe they've lifted the ban in Doncaster. Perhaps, you know, there are going to be throngs of crowds. But evidently it was just you, wasn't it, Gaz?
It's just me, yeah. I'll be there today as well. The Lincoln's on today.
Excellent.
I might nip up and get. He's on again. He's on the telly again, this lad. My fee's going up after lockdown.
He's the sort of bloke, Matt, who used to hang around outside Dixon's, outside the shop window, because you could see yourself on one of them, you know, streets.
Bless him.
Your
Right.
meals then, Matthew?
Okay, the first one is a homemade meal.
Oh.
And my missus makes probably, I mean, she's gone out, so I can say this without fear of her getting a big head. She makes the finest homemade lasagna that I probably ever tasted.
Oh.
It is magnificent.
I
So,
take it you're not going to give us any added clues that why it's that good.
or well,
No.
I know that she does one of her little tricks to make it a little bit creamier is she does add a bit of cream of tomato soup into the sauce.
Okay.
It's
Right.
a winner.
Writing that down. Just write it
Absolute
down.
winner.
Does she make it from scratch, or is there a bit of dolmio, a bit of ragu thrown in there, or is it all, you know?
That's a good question. I think mostly from scratch. Actually, I don't think yeah, she does pretty much all of it from scratch. Do you want to just just want to have a little pause while the dog barks at the postman? We'll have a little pause there while I just go and kick the dog. Is that all right? I'm not really.
Not a problem.
The dog obviously loves your missus cooking as well, and it's got
Going to make a lot. Yeah, he likes lasagna. Going to
Be
make it.
salivated.
She, I should say. Give me a second.
Give Me 5 is the perfect show for people who can't handle the truth.
Done lasagna.
Oh yes, homemade lasagna. That's number one for me.
Angela's lasagna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2 is the good old Sunday roast.
Sunday roast, yeah.
I do love a roast. I mean, my mum makes a magnificent roast dinner.
Is that beef, lamb? Is it any meat?
Well, my favourite is chicken.
Really?
Yeah. But I do like a bit of beef that is not too well cooked.
Oh.
So
Changed.
a little bit of pink beef, you can't beat that.
You've never been put off the roast by all these dinners that you've spoken at, and you know you get these certain.
Chicken dinners. Christ almighty.
They none of them compare to my mum's roast. And my missus, to be fair, is her standards have risen incredibly the last few years actually, and it's getting close to the standard of my mum's roast dinners.
Brilliant.
Controversial, Matt, but
I know, but she's not here, so I can say that.
Number 3.
Number 3, okay, I've gone a bit more upper class restaurant here.
Oh.
But I love a decent Chateaubriand.
oh, on your own, or do you share it with someone?
I mean, I can eat it on my own. I've got to be honest. I do share because sometimes it's the right thing to do. But if I can't find anyone else around the table who's willing to have a Chateaubriand with me, I have on occasions ordered it all for myself. Yes.
And that just pisses off everyone else who's splitting the bill, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly right. So you can't beat a bit of that with chips and mushrooms.
Oh, marvellous.
Yeah.
Triple cooked.
Triple cooked for sure.
Oh, yeah. What about the chips?
Hey.
So what, number 4?
Number 4, we're going for a one of my staple diets down the years, and something that I've loved since I was a kid. And being a Brit, you can't beat a good fish and chip shop. And my favourite in the fish and chip shop was the battered sausage and chips.
The battered sausage and chips.
Yeah.
I can just imagine you outside, battered sausage, chips, scraps,
aye.
with your loitering thing on, listening to Green Door, This Old House, in your girl suits. Yeah, it's got everything.
Yeah, I mean, fish and chip shops have played a big part in my life, so I thought it would be rude to miss out having a meal from there in amongst my favourites.
I'll be amazed if the battered sausage gets in anyone else's.
It'll be a surprise, I think, unless we get any Scots on, because they batter everything up there.
Oh, yeah. King rib, greatest ever.
Yeah.
The battered king rib in Scotland's the finest. Oh, brilliant. Anyway, number 5, Matt.
And number 5, just edging out the sausage and egg McMuffin, is the full English breakfast.
Oh. Wow.
I honestly, I love a full English. Obviously, I have to tailor it a little bit because I'm not a big fan of tomatoes. So they get shoved to one side. Extra hash browns instead of the tomatoes.
Black pudding?
No, black pudding gets pulled out. No, I tell you what I found.
It's not the full English; it's the semi-English.
So, well, yeah, I guess it's a full English in brackets,
English-ish,
or with an asterisk on the top.
I'm not saying we take umbrage at the full English breakfast, but
no, I'm fine with it, Matt.
Like in Glanmores, which really upset my English neighbour, when they took him there, we had a bit of brunch, and it's actually advertised as a full Welsh breakfast there.
So there's this during this lockdown. Obviously, I've taken to doing the old walking because it's brilliant.
And, brilliant, isn't it?
Walking is brilliant, and so I went on this one walk, and about 3 miles from my house, in this little lay-by on a road just outside Romsey, there's a lovely little burger van, and apparently he's been there 20 years. I mean, I've only lived in this house for 3 years, so I haven't really taken much notice of it. And so I've been walking down there 3 miles, and he does these magnificent things where he's got one of them big wraps, and in it he puts 2 hash browns, 2 sausages, 2 rashers of bacon, a fried egg, melted cheese, and ketchup, and he folds it so it comes out like a fan, and it is just magnificent. So I walk 3 miles down there. I have one of these things, and I eat it on the way back, and I'm not sure the amount of calories that I burn walking 6 miles quite covers what I've just eaten on the way.
Are you a ketchup man or an HP sauce man?
Oh, ketchup. I don't like HP sauce at all.
Okay. Right.
No, not a fan. Big fan of ketchup.
So we're coming to we've got the last 2 subjects. This one is films, something that me and Ian loves his films. We love, so I cannot wait for these 5 films. Is Shaking Stevens in any of them?
No.
All right.
But you're going to be quite surprised, and I don't think many people would probably have the 5 films that I've got in their top 5 films.
Okay.
Firstly, I'm not a huge watcher of films. I'm going to put that out there right from the start. So there is a lot of classic films that most people would consider to be the best films of all time. I probably haven't watched 90% of them.
I'm happy with that. I've never seen The Godfather that people think is. It's not for me. So yeah.
No, nor me. I mean, you could list 10 of the best films of all time that you think, and I probably might have watched 1 or 2 of them, I reckon.
Okay.
So, with that in mind, I'm going for my first choice back to my early childhood, and a film that had a great impact on me, and still to this day, even though it was made in 1978, I think it was, it is still my favourite film of all time, starring the unbelievably good-looking Olivia Newton-John.
Grease.
Grease. Honestly, it is my favourite film of all time. Still to this day.
Tell me more.
Exactly. It just, the music from it was just absolutely brilliant, and as cheesy as it all is, I've watched it. It's probably the film that I have watched the most the whole way through of any film in my life, and I reckon we're talking between 50 and 100 times.
Really?
or I've watched that film the whole way through.
I'll be honest. I bought the album when it came out. I bought the album, and you know when what was the song that was at number one for ages and ages? And Summer Nights, yeah, and Rat Trap.
Oh yeah,
number one, and Bob Geldof went like that and tore him. I tell you what, as a 13-year-old boy, I was distraught.
oh.
And now I'm thinking, good effort, Bob. Yeah, it was. To be fair, it was, and she was gorgeous, wasn't she?
She was on something the other day. I didn't see it, but yeah, she's still performing, isn't she?
Is she?
Yeah, doing a bit. Yeah, I'm sure you could enter a competition, Matt, and win.
You know what?
Beresford.
She's one of those that I haven't seen in concert, which is a big regret in my life, if I'm honest.
Yeah, well, you'd better shake up.
John Beresford had the same haircut as Olivia Newton-John as well at one time, so it was perfect.
Excellent.
Go on then, number two.
Number two is so all the rest are funny films. So I know you comedians might appreciate them, and I've got, when it comes to watching films and things that make me laugh, I've got a very, let's say, childish sense of humour.
I think I know where you're going with this. This is. Can we guess?
So hang on. My second one. Okay, are you talking about that? So I've got a trilogy of films.
Yeah.
And one on its own. So I'm going to do the one on its own first, because it was just a film in the mid-90s, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it just tickled me so much because it was so stupid but so funny. That starred Jim Carrey.
Oh.
And so number
Liar,
two.
Liar?
No.
Ooh.
No. Number two is Dumb and Dumber.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's the alternative title for this podcast, you know.
I think what happened, that the first line in the film made me laugh so much when he sticks his head out the limo and he talks to the lady, the foreign lady, and she's telling him the directions, and he asks her where she's from, and she goes, Austria, and he just goes, Austria, good day, mate. Throw another shrimp on the barbie. And from that very first line of the film, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be funny."
Yeah, the first film was brilliant. I'm glad you didn't go for the trilogy of this one, because the other two weren't the greatest. But the first one was
magnificent. First one was magnificent. And you're right. The follow-ups didn't quite match up to it.
No.
Unlike the last three.
Do you know, Rod? Have you
last three films?
I think it's Naked Gun.
Oh no, it's not.
Oh
no. So it's
on a limb there, Gaz. Yeah.
And we're talking. I think we were looking. First one was late 90s.
Oh right.
To early 2000s. So it was like 2 or 3 years in between each film. And
on this.
In fact, Gaz,
I was thinking earlier. I was thinking Airplane, but there's only two.
No,
there was three. I thought I'd got it. Bang on. In fact,
I'm surprised that before obviously you've taken to losing all that weight. You weren't. Have you put it back on?
Oh, Matty, yeah, and a bit more.
Oh, well done. Good effort.
Thank you.
In which case, you might be up for the fourth film in the series then of this, because there was a bloke who I thought you could have played very well with a Scottish accent.
You, Austin Powers.
Ah!
Yeah.
Fat bastard.
Yeah, that was, and Rod could have played Vern Troyer's part as well, to be fair. So,
harsh.
Come on.
That is harsh. I was still thinking back then, because our next door neighbour, who is like a real Valley Commando, Matt, a proper man's man, always out doing outdoory things and and I'm the least sort of practical person in the world, and I had to dismantle a shed last year, and I've got all this stuff on a on a wheelbarrow, and I'm trying to push it up a slippery garden path, slipping all over the place. I think I had flip-flops on at the time. And he looks at me and he goes, "Here he comes, fucking Dumb and Dumber." I was that useless. I was both of them. You know, I wasn't...
Brilliant stuff. But no, the three Austin Powers films were just. I mean, the first one was I thought was absolutely brilliant.
The first one was brilliant, wasn't it?
I was in creases, and I thought I thought I was going to be disappointed with the follow-ups, and I wasn't. And I've watched them all probably several times, and there are still gags in the film.
Yeah.
That when you're watching for the third or fourth time that you pick up on that you've missed.
Yeah.
And I think that's a sign of a really good film, that you can still watch it several times and you're still picking up things that make you laugh that you missed in the first few.
I don't think I've seen Goldmember more than once, to be fair, or The Spy Who Shagged Me, was it? I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tell you what, I did enjoy with Mike Myers. So I Married an Axe Murderer. Have you seen that one?
No.
So I Married an Axe Murderer. Belting film. Film. Yeah. He did it. I think he did it in either just before or in between the Austin Powers trilogies.
Something tells me you're a Will Ferrell fan as well. Do you like the Will Ferrell stuff, Matt?
Like I say, I don't watch huge amounts of films, and I'm not really fans of actors per se.
Oh, well.
I just kind of like stuff that I like, and if it tickles me in a way, then it doesn't really matter who it is, to be honest. It's just whether or not it tickles my sense of humour.
It's very much campaign. You'd enjoy that sort of stuff, I think.
So the last section, we're going to get everyone to do this. It's dinner guests. The top 5 dinner guests, dead or alive, Matt.
Okay. Well, only one of mine is dead.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Is it Saddam Hussein?
No.
Right.
No. Oh no, it's nothing controversial. So it's heavily.
Stevens get a look in.
He doesn't actually, but
Stevens, by the way, he was great at making cocktails, but shit at stealing tambourines.
It's heavily influenced by my sporting idols growing up.
Okay.
So number one, not only was I a decent footballer, but I was also pretty good at cricket. And my hero, like most boys growing up in the late 70s, early 80s, was a certain Mr. Botham.
IT Botham.
And so IT Botham would be on my dinner table list. I would imagine he would have some incredible stories to share over dinner.
Definitely. And I'm pretty sure he'd like the food as well, IT.
And his wine as well.
Oh, yeah. And anything else. A big cigar after. Brilliant.
So, yeah, he was a big hero of mine. And I've been lucky enough to meet Ian and been on a couple of golf trips down to Marbella with him.
He's a good golfer, isn't he, Ian?
Yeah, he loved his golf. Yeah, he was single figure handicapper as well. So, he's always a big hero of mine. I got to do a question of sport with him as well, which was really nice.
I worked with Ian on the island, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, the Isle of Man. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. Have you worked with him, Rod?
I have worked with him once, but he left before I came on.
Don't you just hate it when the speakers do that?
He'd obviously heard about me, but unlike Emlyn Hughes, he left before that I came on, but he'd never worked with me before. But he told everyone I was brilliant before he left, which was great,
I worked with Emlyn about 7 times. He's never seen me. He'd never seen me once.
You mentioned
he got on before the dinner once. He got on before the dinner once.
Before the dinner.
Before the dinner, he got on.
See, I've actually been at dinners where Gaz has gone, when you're finished, you can sod off if you want.
Yeah.
I don't, Gaz, do I? I stay because I like you.
You do, to be fair. You do. You stayed. Last time I was with you, you had Flash Gordon with you. Gordon Watson was your driver.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
He won't be doing that anymore. He's living in Costa Rica now.
I believe so. I've seen that on Twitter, yeah. It's unbelievable. Right, number 2 then, Matt.
Just
number 2.
Matt, I just wanted to say, is there any truth in rumor? You mentioned question of sport, but is it right that you sometimes get mistaken for a captain on a question of sport?
Yes, there have been numerous times in my life where people that have thought that I was Phil Tufnell, yes. Not least of which a pub in Southampton. I mean, seriously. of all the places in the world where you wouldn't have thought you'd get mistaken for Phil Tufnell, would be in a pub in my hometown. But no, it happened, and yeah, to this day, it was quite funny actually, because I was going out for lunch, and obviously this barman thought that I was Phil Tufnell, and I was having a date with a young lady. Obviously, this is in between the marriages, and so at the end, we've had our lunch, and at the end, the cheeky twat who thought I was Phil Tufnell, he comes up and we go, "Oh, would you mind signing our guest book and leave a review for us on the way out?" And I went, "Yeah, I will. Don't worry about that." So I did, and it just said, "Your food's shit. All the best, Phil Tufnell."
I thought the Malibu and Coke would have given you away.
I was driving.
Sausage.
I was driving.
Number 2.
Number 2 is another game that I loved playing as a kid growing up and got quite good at. So my highest break at snooker, I got to about 88. So I was a fairly reasonable snooker player. And my hero on the snooker table was Gimme White.
Oh, God, I've written Steve Davis down.
Shut up!
I thought this was got to be...
I mean, how does that equate to my personality? Steve Boring Davis.
Yeah, fair enough. Just the hairstyle I was looking at, Matt. It's the only thing that threw me.
Gimme White, the flair player.
Gimme White. 180.
And the nearly man. All those world championships, I was gutted for him when he didn't.
The one that he should have beat Hendry.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
I was distraught for days after that. Honestly, I couldn't sleep. I could not sleep.
He missed. Did he miss it? Was it a black off the spot, or
it was something like that? Yeah, it was something like that. But it was just there, all there for him, and he couldn't finish it off, and it was just heartbreaking.
You work with Jimmy, Rod? You work with Gimme White?
No, I haven't actually. No, I haven't worked with him. In fact, I didn't even know he did the circuit.
No, I worked with him once. He just did like an exhibition. And as I was on stage, and he walked out. And you can bleep this out, Ian. He looked at me and went, "You're one funny."
I got to play a game against him in one of those exhibitions, Gaz.
Yeah,
he did one in Southampton. Yeah, so I got to play a frame against him, and honestly, I was that nervous. I couldn't pot a ball. It was embarrassing to the point where I think he made like an 80 or 90 break or something, and all that was left was the blue, the pink, and the black. And he deliberately missed the blue so I could have a go. Yeah. And he left it on so easy for me, and I was that nervous I couldn't pot it. I had the yips with my snooker cue. And then I got to play a bit of poker with him as well on telly. He loves his Texas Hold'em as well, so I got to sit around a poker table with him and had a good chat with him for a couple of hours as well. So that was nice.
You can get the cards out with IT, both of them, and Gimme White after your port and Malibu and what have you.
Yeah.
3 then.
And also the next guest, I think probably I've heard likes a little flutter.
Yeah.
And again, golf is obviously quite big in my life, and there's no one bigger than Tiger Woods.
Oh, right.
In the golf world, and I've chosen Tiger. There are other players that I probably admired a bit more. So Ernie Els was my first golfing hero. Again, it was just the way that he just made the game look so easy and effortless, and it was that kind of attracted me to him. But around the dinner table, I think Tiger's stories might be a bit more interesting. I mean, he's lived the life. Let's be honest.
It'd have to be after the watershed, wouldn't it?
Drive you home after, though. That's the thing.
Definitely would, and I'd love to know. Just I know his driving has been bad these last few years, but geez, just what happened there?
Oh my God!
Can he come back from this, Matt? We know he's a comeback artist extraordinaire, but is this a bridge too far? Do you think?
I think that's a bridge too far. To be honest, age is catching up. He's already had the bad knees, the bad back, and just I think it's he's too much for him at his age, I think. So sadly, I think we've seen the last of Tiger Woods winning a big golf tournament.
He was a shoo-in to beat Nicklaus's record, and then he's won once since.
I know, incredible, isn't it?
Absolute shoo-in.
Incredible what's happened there. It really is.
Jack Nicklaus is in the mafia.
Jack Nicholson, I think.
Hope you're not turning into a conspiracy theorist, Gaz.
You're rubbing off on me. Number 4, Matt. Number 4. Format.
Number 4, we're going back to the world of music again, and I have to include Shania Twain. You know, I've had a real soft spot for her for a long time, and to be able to, she don't even have to speak. Do you know what I mean? Just to be in her company would be enough. She don't have to tell any stories. She can just sit there and look great.
Would she have to be wearing that leopard skin onesie?
Possibly.
Was it a onesie?
Well, I don't know what it was.
A big fluffy pajama thing, isn't it? A onesie?
I don't think you can buy them anyway. I've not seen them in Caerphilly.
Does she play poker?
I don't know, but she was meant to be doing a residency in Las Vegas, which I was very keen to go and watch her in, because, you know, obviously that combines two things that I quite enjoy. So when the world opens up again and she goes back there, I shall be taking the wife to go and watch her in concert at whatever hotel in Vegas she's going to be in. So that'll be pretty good. Looking forward to that.
So your final person?
So my final person is the one dead person.
Right.
And again, if you want somebody around
I'm writing this down already. Right, I'll write it down.
If you want somebody around a dinner table who can tell a few stories, I don't think there'll be anyone more interesting than Elvis Presley.
Get in.
You had to get one, Gaz. You had to get.
I've got one. Yeah. I have Titanic.
Do you know what? Titanic. I considered Titanic with the films.
You know, I always had you down as a Titanic fan.
It was a consideration. It was definitely a consideration.
Shouldn't have left Southampton. That was the thing, wasn't it?
Exactly. So yeah, I think the life that he lived and the times that he lived through would have just been amazing to have listened to the experience that he had in his life. I mean, just being that big a mega star on the world scene in a world where it wasn't that easy to be a mega star. You know, you didn't have the same coverage that you have these days, but still he managed to have such a massive influence on
for myself, I was never a big fan of his music, but his films I used to love.
Ah, yeah.
I love his films.
Yeah. I was quite. I quite enjoyed the music too. I quite liked the rock and roll. So my mum and dad used to play the '60s stuff growing up in the house when I was a kid. So I kind of got used to it then. I've always enjoyed the music from that era as well.
Yeah. Hey Matt, well, some absolutely fantastic choices right across the board there, eh, Gaz?
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, like I said, I had a guest. I guessed Elvis. I guess Shaking Stevens. They're the only two I guessed, to be fair. And the battered sausage. Got the battered sausage,
yeah. Lovely.
Well, Matt, an absolute pleasure. We really appreciate you coming on and always entertaining, and always an absolute pleasure to see you. We look forward to catching up in person in the not too distant. I think better times are waiting in the wings. But
yeah, let's hope so, guys.
It's been on the 29th of June, Matthew.
29th of June. It's in the diary, Gaz. I've got it here. Don't worry about that. We're all set, and I'll hopefully have some more shots on my handicap by then.
I'll be interested to see what your handicap is at Wheatley, actually. So,
we'll actually. Is it a tough course then? Is it?
No, it's not that tough, you know.
So I'll probably
it's
have
a nice
to
course.
one.
It is a lovely course.
I'll have to make some putts. Although I should be pretty good at putting now. I've got this. I don't know if you've seen on Twitter. I've got this Christmas present that the missus bought me.
Yeah.
A 9-foot putting strip that I've been practicing on. Honestly, I can't miss now.
Really? Dan Walker played last year. He's off. I think he's off. I've just seen his new handicap is 0.1.
He's trapped, isn't he? Yeah.
Wow. He went round in either 4 under or 5 under. Dan Walker went round in last time.
He's a proper golfer.
Well, I honestly thought there wouldn't be anybody better than Matt there. Well, maybe does Sharpie play? I think
Sharpie's off scratch now, isn't he? I think.
Is he?
Sharpie's going on the seniors tour, I believe.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's something for you to think about.
Yeah,
get on the seniors tour, Matt.
Yeah, I'm not that good. Yeah, I mean, I can have the occasional good round. I think one is a bit flattering, if I'm honest. I'm really kind of more of around a 3 or 4 handicapper, to be honest.
Like I said, Matt, thank you very, very much.
Brilliant.
Cheers, guys. Great to see you. And I look forward to catching up in person soon.
See you later, mate. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now listen here, you. I love listening to Gimme 5. I enjoy it, alright? I just can't put my finger on why.
Well, what a brilliant guest he was, Matt Le Tissier. And I'll be honest with you, Ron, I'm sure you agree. Soccer Saturday, it's not the same without him. Do you agree?
Well, I mean, Soccer Saturday anyway. You're a big fan of it, aren't you?
Love it.
But I've never, just the thought of somebody sat down watching a football match and then trying to relay that to other people watching. I mean, they could be watching anything. They could be watching internet porn, couldn't they? Someone's gone down in the box there. Big tackle flying in. They're all lining up to have a go now. It's looking very stretched. It looks like he's trying to get down the outside and whip it into the corridor of uncertainty. You know, hope someone pulls him off before he throws his head in. It could be internet porn quite easily. That.
You're right. It could be anything, but it's riveting. And like I say, it's not the same without him.
Okay, I'll give you that. Well, that was it. The old Gimme 5 podcast. Another one done and dusted, Gaz, and a really good one. And we look forward to joining you for more of the same, if you can possibly make it. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.